E-commerce never ceases to amaze me with all these different niches that are absolutely massive. And in today's video, we're going to be diving into such a niche that is valued at over $120 billion in 2024, mind you, and is absolutely booming. So the market that we're talking about today is the gardening market, the gardening niche. And I want to show you a variety of things. It's going to be a very densely packed video with tons of value that you can take away. So stay to the end, strap in, and let's get right into it. Now, there's a few different things I want to show you. Some very interesting, sort of shady things in this market, some very legitimate things in this market, and even more. So, we're going to start out with just one small trend in this market that is quite interesting. It's the AI lawnmower trend. One thing I've noticed lately is that AI products, whether it's software, whether it's hardware, are just simply booming. They are just getting a lot of attention. And one of these products is AI lawnmowers. We can see through this trend, of course, it peaked in July when it's summertime, and now it's kind of crashing like crazy, but it will boom again. I'm pretty certain of it. I would bet money on it. And one of the interesting things about this trend is that there's a lot of cool brands that use or that are following this trend. This is one of them, and this is actually the best one. So this is the best store, and we're going to dissect it super quick. But then I do want to show you a couple other things too. For example, this store that I found that sells rose seeds, and I'm actually not even sure that they're truly selling these seeds. No offense, because this is all AI generated. I mean, maybe you can't tell, but I can absolutely tell that these are AI generated. And also, I've never seen, these kinds of roses before. But either way, this is still a good example on the things that you can build on Shopify, whether it's real or not. And of course, I suggest you build real things. But anyways, let's just start with this. This store right here, we can see the traffic distribution is absolutely booming. And this is exactly what you want to find when you're doing deep research on a variety of brands or a particular market, right? Is you want to find the brands that are actually taking off, because unfortunately, this brand is not taking off. They are, actually just crashing. However, here's the caveat with this specific example. Like I just showed you through this trend, right? This is primarily booming in the summer. So of course, right now it's not summer anymore, so this brand is crashing a bit, but this brand actually is still worthwhile to explore, because when they were peaking, they were at over 1.3 million monthly visitors. And if you don't know, the visitors, you can get a good estimate of their sales through looking at the visitors. And by the way, this is the new extension that we dropped inside Shopee Lab. So shout out to our development team. This is super cool. I'm super hyped we have it. But basically, if you don't know, through the visitors, you can get a good sales estimate. So for example, for my own personal stores, I have a store that so far today has done, let me just check super quick, don't go anywhere. It's done, I believe, $3.4 thousand so far in sales today. And let me just see, yep, 3.4K. And then the sessions are only 773. So that's almost 5x the amount of visitors. So if we use that as a reference point, right, as a benchmark, then when they did 1.3 million in visitors, if we times that by 5, right, that's like $6 million a month. That's absolutely insane, right? That's so much traffic, so much revenue. And that's the cool thing about this particular niche, is that you can do these sorts of sales numbers. I'm not going to say it's easy, obviously, because it's not easy, but you can reach those a little bit easier than brands that have like really low priced goods, because you're selling a thing for $1,200, right? Now, what I really love about this specific brand, even though they're a lot smaller in terms of traffic distribution, but we can see they're absolutely popping off. They're starting to get a ton of demand, especially in the US. And what I really love about them, though, is that they have this interesting subscription model. So you can either just purchase it outright, or you can just not commit and subscribe to it for $100 a month. So for $100 a month, you could have this just doing circles around your yard and, mowing your lawn, which is a very interesting concept. And I've actually seen this thing in my neighborhood. I saw it this summer. I saw somebody with it, and I'll just say it right now. It's a cool idea, but execution-wise, it looked kind of weird, okay? The yard looked very messy because this thing just goes back and forth, right? It doesn't do like a really clean and neat pattern, which if you hire somebody to mow your lawn, it usually looks pretty nice, right? Because they set these, they go in a pattern. Now, I'm sure you can set it up to do a pattern, but most users are not going to bother with doing that, right? So that's one thing that they could probably improve upon. There's tons of these machines starting to pop left and right. I do wonder if we can find some. Let's see, AI lawn mower. I'm just curious to see if you can source something like this pretty easily. I'm pretty sure you can. I mean, you can source anything these days. So yes, you absolutely can. So you can find a very similar one to that one for $400 or to $500, but the MOQ on that one is pretty high. But this one isn't. So this one is, you can buy one unit for $500. It's a supplier out of, I believe that's Netherlands. And I mean, yeah, if you can flip that for 1,200, you're chilling. Am I right? That's pretty cool though. I love to see that. And these guys are out of the US. It's the same exact model, also $500. This one is $700. So these are possible to source, guys. When I show you these ideas, I like to also share with you some sourcing solutions, because I think a lot of you think that, like it's just impossible to build a business for some reason, when in reality, every single thing that you buy is just somebody that started a business. So anyways, I do want to dive a little bit deeper into the broader niche, right? So we started with the AI lawnmowers. I thought that was kind of an interesting one to share, but really the gardening niche is absolutely massive. And one of the things that you can do to do more deep research is you can go to the gardening Reddit, for example, and you can see what people are talking about. So, people are talking about growing pineapples. That's interesting. People are talking about these vibrant flowers. You can kind of learn a lot from this. Or here, please help aloe plant mold. Boom, plant mold. I've never even heard of that, right? So this could give you a product idea. You could sell something that helps plants avoid mold, and clearly that's going to solve someone's problem. Now, I did find through the ShopeeLab software here. ShopeeLab is a research software. We have a lot of free toolkits that you can use. So sign up to shopeelab.ai in the description. And in one of those tools, it's called the discovery feature. You can browse ads. So I saw this ad. I actually browse this every single day. And like in 2 minutes, I always find something really interesting to either talk about in my videos or to, apply to some of our stores or clients. Look at this ad right here.
Crazy climber. Once you plant it by your door, your house will be the envy of the whole neighborhood.
Look at this.
It is a climbing rose.
This is all AI. I mean, obviously it is, but I'm sure some people don't
bloom,
see
it creates
that it's
a spectacular
AI, especially
wall of
older
flowers,
people.
with blooms even more beautiful than those of a traditional rose, and a fragrance that beats your favorite scent. In just a couple of months, you will have a spectacular wall of flowers full of color and life. This rose is very hardy. It is not afraid of snow and grows happily in.
And they use this 11 Labs, like Hispanic voiceover. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, I don't know if this is legit or not. I actually think it probably isn't, because I don't even think you can grow something like this. But nevertheless, these guys are actually making money. They're driving a ton of traffic to their store, and they did create a beautiful landing page. This is actually really well done. It's the same exact structure that we follow on all of our stores too. It's super simple. I can tell that they use probably the shrine theme here. They just have bundle options here, so you can buy more for less. That's a really good idea to add to your store. And that's pretty much it. Like, they just have a really good lander. So this just goes to show you there's just a lot of interesting product ideas that you can create. And if you're creative like these guys, let's say they actually were able to develop this product, you could launch and test this idea without it even being real, right? And then eventually creating it into a real thing. So that's pretty interesting. And now you're starting to see how people are using AI to make these videos. It's pretty incredible. You can use something like Higgsfield in order to do that. So Higgsfield is a really good tool that allows you to do that. But I will suggest you use Adscape, because Adscape is going to be way simpler to use than Higgsfield. I can confidently say that. So you can join the waitlist in the description. Higgsfield is amazing, though. I'm not going to lie. I don't want to throw shade at them. I use Higgsfield every day, especially their Nano Banana option. But also, some of the video options too. They have Sora 2. They have Google VO 3.1. But I just think this is a little too much. Like, it's overwhelming. So we're simplifying that process, that workflow at Adscape, and it's going to be pretty cool. But I do think this niche is kind of a slept-on niche. Gardening is so massive, but nobody really thinks about it too much, because it's primarily like an older person niche, but not entirely. There's a lot of younger people or millennials, for example, that also garden. And I did on Team Drop. Team Drop is one of the sourcing platforms that I love to use, primarily because you don't have to order inventory to begin your business. You can just sell these products that are already existing, but you can add your own branding elements to it. I really like this cool Japanese gardening scissor. I've never seen anything like that. And I just got a hair in my mouth. But yeah, you can see what I do admire about this brand, maybe even if it's not legit, is that they branded it pretty nicely, and that, they're just kind of going for it, right? I mean, I think that's pretty cool. You can test an idea like this, but I hope they're not actually scamming people. It probably, I don't know, they might be scamming people. But anyways, yeah, I think you can source a lot of cool gardening products here. I want to see if we can, like, what other products are out there on 1688. 1688 is a platform in China where people shop. But also on Alibaba, we can look up more gardening products, and even on AliExpress. So, like, as long as you have all these tools at your disposal, we can look at gardening. Okay, let's just, so many pop-ups, gardening. So we can see, for example, I mean, just a variety of products. And one way that I think you could use AliExpress is not necessarily to ship with AliExpress, but you could find products on here and then, go to the free sourcing tab on Shopee Lab. And then you can go to visit Team Drop and then make a free Team Drop account and then just message them on WhatsApp to source any product that you find on AliExpress. You're probably going to get a better price and way faster shipping as well. So that's a pretty cool thing that you can do. And yeah, this niche is just fascinating to me. It's pretty interesting, and it's expected to grow to 150 billion in the next 5 years, which is pretty significant growth. And another interesting thing to note is that this is the global market, so don't be shy when it comes to testing these ideas in other markets besides the US. I mean, I primarily like to test ideas in one market. In the past, I have launched ads that target like a variety of markets, but I think that kind of dilutes the brand a little bit at the beginning. I think it's better to start with one market. Obviously, it really doesn't matter though. There's people doing, starting with worldwide targeting, and they can make it work. But I'm just speaking of what I'm doing currently. But like I said, there's a lot of demand elsewhere in Canada and Australia and UK. I'm sure in France, Netherlands. So don't be afraid to launch a brand in just a smaller specific market. You'll likely find a lot of success when you are going after trends that are booming or products that are really, really cool. Some of these are really cool, actually. Some of these plants, I wonder how it would work with shipping. So some of these are probably like impossible to ship from China at a reasonable price, but and with importing too, it's kind of difficult because of tariffs. So yeah, we're kind of in a weird situation with ecom right now, but I do personally think like one of the best ways to start your ecom store right now is just to ship directly from Asia from your supplier, or have a 3PL out there, because you're just going to be a lot more flexible, right? With whatever happens with US, China, tariffs. But that's about it for this video. I wanted to just explore this niche with you. I wanted to give you some of these ideas that I found at a glance. And personally, I just wanted to explore them myself, especially this store. I found it quite interesting that they're doing this subscription model. And yeah, that's about it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.